Welcome to the NHK might be the strangest anime series ever.
Vaughan Jog Vlog.
Welcome to the NHK is a 2006 anime limited series from Studio Gonzo based on the 2002 novel of the same name, which I watched on Funimation. The story centers on a young man named Sato living in the outskirts of Tokyo. Sato is a college dropout with crippling social anxiety disorder. He's convinced there's a conspiracy fronted by the NHK, the Japanese Broadcast Corporation, to keep him miserable. Living alone and afraid to leave his apartment, he's deemed a hikikomori, or antisocial recluse. One day, Sato meets a sweet but mysterious 17-year-old girl named Misaki who makes Sato her project. They agree to meet in the park at 9 p.m. each night for counseling sessions to cure him. I first binged Welcome to the NHK when it was on Netflix years ago, and I hadn't seen much anime TV. I'll tell you this, Welcome to the NHK doesn't have the over-the-top action and adventure one expects from anime. A vibrant opening is juxtaposed by a largely melancholy story dealing with heavy content like existential crises and suicide cults. A light episode of fan service and comedy can be followed by somber personal conflict. Episodes hit a little close to home, directly addressing the inadequacies of anime viewers. Mom worrying you won't get married? That's true. Trying to make money farming gold in an MMORPG, old school acquaintance dropping by to talk you into a pyramid scheme, failing to make a hentai game with your otaku neighbor. Welcome to the NHK is not your standard anime series. It's far more grounded than what you may be used to seeing, with a very realistic story. There are moments of imagination, but the story unfolds with all the lackluster flair of real life. It could even be surmised that Welcome to the NHK makes a scathing criticism of the lives of anime viewers. At the start of the series, a woman hands Sato a flyer raising awareness of the hikikomori phenomenon in an effort to change him. Well, isn't an anime a better medium to deliver said message? Imagine a book making fun of readers or a video game that mocks gamers. Welcome to the NHK is an anime series that seems to suggest a path for redemption to its own audience, and it's not to consume more anime. This is unfathomable in Western culture, where you watch a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie as a trailer for the next movie, or a new season is expected to be binge-viewed over the weekend of release. If the message is taken to heart, maybe Welcome to the NHK has saved some hikikomoris along the way.
If you appreciate a YouTube channel that doesn't just pad out content to get to the 8-minute mark so that it can hammer you with ad breaks, then you should subscribe to my son's channel. You just got done watching it.